Good morning, farmers. Welcome back to the farm. We're here on my day 4 of this map, and standing in the last field that I have yet to plant. I've been going into debt on this farm. I bought this field on the first day and harvested. It was with corn. So you can see I have chopped straw down on this field. And I've decided to plant it in potatoes, which means that I have to cultivate it. So where with one of the other fields we talked about yesterday, we had the chopped straw, but we chose just to, use the cultivator seeder, the rapid seed, which does not put in the extra nitrogen for the chopped straw. In any event, so this one we are going to, cultivate because we're planting potatoes. We kind of have to with our potato planter. I think you have to, though. I think one time I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to cultivate. I'm also, my tractor's right over there. You can probably see it. I'm going to spread some lime because I'm at 6.6 on my pH, and I want to get that extra 2 or 3 that you get. So I want to get the 0.8 or 0.9 pH added. So I'll go up to 7.4, 7.5, and then with my, hopefully what you're seeing is a normal routine of spreading N, and then the next day I'll spread PK, and then the third day I'll spread NPK. And in spreading those plus a herbicide, really spreading the nitrogen plus a herbicide takes away 0.4 with the 2 of them, and then the crop growth takes away another 0.2. So if you do all that math, basically 7.4 minus 0.6 is going to be 6.8. And then the same thing with the nitrogen. I'll end up adding 5 nitrogen plus another 3 is going to give, it's going to be a total of 8. 8 plus 4 that I already have on the field is going to be 12. I come back down 4 for the normal crop. Oh, wait, this is a good point. One of the reasons I'm doing the potatoes. Potatoes take an extra day. So you're going to end up taking off 5 because you got to wait 1 extra day for the first growth cycle has to be passed. So it's going to take away 5 nitrogen. So this field's going to go down to 7 on the nitrogen. The PK will stay the same. Potatoes still take 2 PK. So this is the only crop that I've found takes extra or different than any other crop. So when you do your potatoes, you need to count on 5 nitrogen for 5 days of growth. Again, with my PK, I'm going to spread the 1 PK, which gives me 3, and then I'm going to spread NPK, which is 4, plus the 2 I already have, is going to get me up to 6. I lose 2 for the crop growth. I go back down to 4, which is perfect. The soil moisture on this field is like some of the other fields. You can see I sprayed weed preventative, and that weed preventative was just to keep the weeds down, keep the field balanced, while I knew I wasn't going to harvest it for some days. And that added some extra moisture, which hasn't been taken away yet. So on the 3rd day, probably again when I do the NPK, I will most likely spray the dry fertilizer. Now this field, if you look at take our forecast here. If you look at this, it's going to rain on Sunday. So this field's going to get some moisture. So I may end up, today I can't avoid it if I spray the herbicide. I'm going to add extra moisture because you can't dry spray the herbicide or dry spread the herbicide. So when it comes to this, what I'm going to do is, now that I think about it, I'm going to probably do dry spreading of everything after the herbicide. My soil moisture will go down to 43 because I'm going to add 14 today. So when we come back tomorrow, it'll still be at 71. But then the next 2 growth cycles will take away another 28. That'll take me down to 43. And when I get to 43, it's going to rain on Sunday. So we're going to have to recalculate on Sunday. The rain varies. Every time you cross an hour, so like right now it's 5:03. If it had been raining at 4:59, and then it's kept raining until now, that would add 14. But if it starts raining right now and stops raining at 5:45, that doesn't add anything. So it's got to go past the hour mark, and you'll see it when it's raining. You'll see that. I don't know if you guys ever noticed the little number 1 in the very far upper right corner. That you'll see that change to like a percentage. I think that 1 basically means 100%. Soil mod is 100% calculated. So what happens is you'll see a percentage sign up there when it's raining, and the next thing you know, everything, roads, fields, everything, the moisture will go up on. So we'll see. So in other words, with this crop spanning the rain day, what we're going to end up doing is just sort of keeping it a little extra dry. If it goes way up to 100%, there's not a whole lot I can do about it. But at that point, I'll spray I'll just do it. I should be done my spraying by then. I'm just going to have to bite the bullet, hope for a hot day, or just have this moisture be high. There's just nothing you can really do. I'll do everything I can to keep the field a bit dry, but I have to spray this wet herbicide today, and after that I'll do everything dry and not add any more moisture. Well, that's probably enough of that. I think you guys get the general gist of it, hopefully by now, and as these videos go on, I'll stop explaining things unless I realize I haven't explained it ever. I'll just keep showing you what the fields do and keep the videos pretty short and to the point. Alright, well, I got plenty of work to do before I come back. As far as potato fields take a while to plant, and it'll actually be after work for me in real life before I come back. So I will talk to you guys later on. Alright, I got my potato field there, 25 cultivated, and thought I would just start with the fields and go through them like we have been. Not going to do anything to this field. It's the field I'm zeroing. You can see the different color bubbles. I don't want to spin around too fast, make you dizzy. If I move around up top, I'm not sure how well you can see on the video, but you'll see some of these areas have like just little red dots. As I get closer, they get so small I can't hardly see them. But at the same time, there was that one little, where I started out was the one spot that I had cultivated. See how that's still a little orangish yellow versus orange. So again, when we get done, this will just keep dropping down to 0. If I run over to there, you'll see it probably says 2. But again, this field will just keep dropping so there's no moisture, no nitrogen, and no PK. So not too much to report really. We just have to wait for that to get done. Let's hop in the tractor and head to field 17. I'll do the talking on the way over there, I guess. I did this, I think, before. So field 17 is my sweet beet field. And if you guys remember from the previous days, got a lot going on here. Hold on a second before I crash. Get rid of this. Alt-I. In case you imagine you would know that by now. And for now, I'll get rid of the GPS. So, field 17 is my sweet beet field, and that was one of the fields that I sprayed with the extra herbicide just to keep the weeds down so it didn't, throw off my nitrogen like what happened on that field behind me. And I mentioned this too because I know a lot of people get frustrated. The readings are all over the place, and as long as they start out fairly low, like all of these fields that are withered on this map and have weeds growing up in them and the whole 9 yards, they're not going to be very even probably when you buy them, and this is how I even them out. So for the most part, when I buy a new field from now on, I'll do that to them, and I'm sure it's worth it at some level. To have it sit there and keep. You're always going to be off on your nitrogen an extra bit, or you're always going to be off on the PK in some spots, and depends on how your field got messed up, I suppose, to begin with. But alright, we'll stop right here for a minute. Run out into the field. Now this field, if you look, we sprayed yesterday with the liquid PK, And so now I'm up to 4 on the PK, and I'm 7 on the nitrogen, which was down 1 from yesterday's video. And I'm still at 71. Now, because I'm at 71 at this point, I don't want to spray any more liquid on this field. I'm only going to lose one more moisture, 14%. So what I'm going to do today, and you'd see I have the spreader, not the sprayer. The only thing I'm doing today is putting down NPK on the dry form. That way when I do lose my one more moisture, and I don't lose it until the final growth stage, then I will, that's it. I'll be done. So you'll see I'll be 6.8. I'm going to spray NPK, so that will take up my nitrogen up to 10 at this point, but I'm still going to lose 2 more. We'll bring it back down to 8, and I'm going to spread the PK, one PK, and that'll bring it back. It'll go up to 5, and then on the final growth stage it'll come back down. Still see I got weed prevention, so there's not many weeds in the field. So really this is just a very standard field, other than that soil moisture is a little bit higher than normal. So this field should be in good shape. If we look at our weather forecast, this field has 2 more days, so I'll do it on Saturday, so this one won't get affected by the rain. So I will go spreading out some NPK on this field. When I get done, I'll hop over to the next field. See you in a bit. Hello folks, we're back again on field 18 this time. So just working our way up the field numbers. Not a whole lot different to say about this one. This one's similar with the 71 moisture, which is a little bit high right now. I'm going to spread some PK because I want to get that up. You can see still got the weed preventative in there, and it's just in its, well, not, they call it initial growth when it's, you don't see anything. I kind of always think of this, but I guess it's the second growth phase. And again, during that phase, we're going to do the PK, and then tomorrow we'll do a dry NPK, just like we did on the last field. This field's just a day behind field 17 and 19, so we spray this real quick, and then I'll hop over to 19, which is, is a day ahead of this one. And then 20 is a day ahead of that. So 20 is almost ready to harvest, so that's in some ways the most interesting field. So I'll be back as soon as this one's sprayed. Alright, now we're standing on field 19. And you can see we lost another nitrogen last night. We lost some pH. So this is the field that I didn't cultivate in the extra lime. I just spread the lime on top. So I expect this one to be at 6.6. So we lost our crop growth pH, and yeah, we're going to spread the dry NPK. That way we don't add any more moisture. We'll go down to 57, just like the last field 17. Same idea. So that's about it. Don't know what much more to say about this field. You've kind of heard, what I'm doing. I just wanted to show you the results in case you are following field by field. Yesterday we sprayed the NPK. It went up 3 from 2, and then dropped back down 1. Get my tractor and start spreading out over this field. And I will see you guys when we get to the next field. Well guys, here's field 20. So this is our first field that we've actually gotten to. We're not going to spray it today at all. We've got all the spraying done that we're going to do. Still got a day left of weed prevention, so that should get us through today. And then what we had done yesterday was spread the NPK, so that brought us up to 10 on the end. We went back down to 9. Added an extra. We were at 4, if you remember, in the PK, and we dropped it down. Now it's at 5, and the moisture is at 71. We didn't lose one for that. Not yesterday anyway. So we're going to lose one of each of those moisture N and PK, and so we'll fall in at 8 and 4, which, according to like the way I look at it, is about a 15% loss on the bonus. Or again, if we were off on that PK by even just 1, we'd lose 25%. So this is a very standard result. This is exactly where I expect the field to be. It's about as close as I know how to get it. I haven't done scientific tests. I'm just going on what I've found out from the, more than anything, the information that Decker provides, either in the README file that's contained in the zip folder, or it's on some of the download websites like FSUK, and there's a bunch of conversations in FSUK about that. So yeah, without spraying much, there's not much more to say about it. I'll show you this field again before I harvest it tomorrow, and you'll see that what I've just said is come true. So I'm on my way now to go start planting the potatoes. The store doesn't open that sells the seeds near my potato field, so I figured I'd get that other stuff done first. So I still have the grass to harvest. I'll show you the results of our grass spraying, but I certainly hope by now you guys have a good idea, and you can see that this is, I'm running out of stuff to say. I know I've said a good amount. I'm sure it was confusing at times. I confused myself, I think, with what I said sometimes if I watched the video back, but hopefully you can see through my gibberish and just see what happened with the fields. I mean, you can follow what I sprayed. I didn't hide anything. And once you get the hang of it, there's a different trend that will happen with the second cycle, but again, it's all the fields start at the same exact place. Other than potatoes, all the crops do the same, and all potatoes do is lose an extra nitrogen. All the crops lose the same amount. So once you get used to how much they lose, I write the stuff down, but again, that's more because I just forget whether I sprayed or not. It's not even a matter of, I can take a look at a field now after doing it for a while, and if I know which growth cycle it's in, I can say, well, I'm going to lose this much more. But especially if you're starting at the beginning of the growth cycle, just remember how much of each thing you lose. And again, I make a little checklist type thing and make sure I check it off once I take care of it. But a lot of the fields are going to get treated the same exact way. So while it's difficult to get started with this, then you have some debates as to what's the best thing to do and get it up there. So I'll keep going. I think the second cycle, at least on a couple of the fields, will be interesting to see. I might make the videos a little bit shorter or different, but we'll see. So, alright, well, I've already talked enough, so I will see you when I get done planting my potatoes and whatnot. Alright guys, this is field 25. I got my potatoes planted, as you can probably tell, and the purplish, on the maps it's bluish, is the nitrogen that I just spread. I used the dry spreader, mostly because the trees, this field's semicircular, and all those trees you can see right there are just fought me left and right when I did spray herbicide AA on my potatoes. So the herbicide will add the 14% moisture that I wanted to get. You can see my cultivating in. This field had corn, so I added an extra nitrogen. I started out with 4, but because I cultivated in the chopped straw mod from the corn, I got an extra nitrogen, which I really don't want, but I did want to get the extra soil pH. So you can see I went from 6.6 to 7.5, and next day I'll spread some PK. It's again pretty similar routine to all the other starting out fields. Once again, this one has the extra starting at 71. Normally, if I get my moisture right from the beginning, I start at 57. So, without further ado, we'll run back over to my tractor, and I just want to kind of wrap up the video for today here. The past few days, I've cut the grass first before I've ended the day's video, but got things to do today. I'm taking the day off, and rather get this thing rendering. This whole YouTube rendering takes a while. I get choppy frame rates if I try to record, and I'm not so sure that I haven't had issues too when I'm just trying to play, which is one of the reasons I stopped doing like the Let's Play. Just, you know, nobody's really watching these videos too much, and I just felt like cutting into my gameplay too much. I'm not a YouTuber per se, but I'd share my knowledge about this and go from there. But in some ways, one of the things I wanted to mention about these grass fields is, you know, they're a good place to experiment and see what sticks. If you spray extra things on them, they're kind of a mess to deal with. I'll show you what I mean. Like, just because you're harvesting them most likely every day, you're I don't know, really hard to get them just dead on right. But you can see I'm getting it closer. So this field was you know, in pretty bad shape when we first started out on the first day. What was it, 2 N and 1 PK in general? And so now I'm getting my PK up. My nitrogen and PK are still a little low, but just looking at this, I haven't pre-planned this. I'm going to probably do another round of NPK. Though I keep losing a PK, so, you know, I don't know. Maybe I do a PK and get myself up to 6, which will drop down to 5. You know, I won't be any worse off. It seems like with the PK, if you're at 4, you're perfect. If you're at 3 or 5, you lose 25%. So do I let my nitrogen drop down an extra bit, or do I build that up a little bit? You know, because again, when you get your nitrogen low, it drops off real fast. The nitrogen around, you know, 6, 7, 8 is really, you know, according to what I know, is you lose about 5%. Where if it's down at 4 here, I'm thinking you lose like 20%. I can look for you guys. Nitrogen at 4 is a 10% loss, but if it's at 3, it's a 7% or 30% loss. So just thinking about that, I think I am better off going with another round of NPK, just because I don't want that nitrogen to drop down to 3. Then I'll have my nitrogen up a little bit extra, and I think I can get away with spraying an NPK. The other problem with a grass field is, you know, if you don't spray one day, your moisture drops off. You end up having to, or wanting to spread water, and then that's 28%, then you get a little bit too high. So it's a bit of a balancing act, but it's a good place to practice. You know, obviously grass is somewhat plentiful, and all you're doing is cutting it. You're not generally sowing it and doing all the other stuff, so you can kind of see the effects of what you're doing. Now this field, you know, we've got the PK at 4. This field, I remember, started out a little bit different because I didn't cut it that very first day. And then the field down there, I cut it, but I never did any fertilizing after the first day. So that's kind of where I lost the PK, so to speak. And so, you know, with this field, you know, I probably will do another NPK. I want to get my nitrogen up because I don't want it to drop down to 3. And then that'll kind of work out perfect because my PK will drop off just by 1. I'll add 1 back to 4. So I'll actually be in reasonably good shape on this field. You know, a little tiny bit high on the nitrogen, but again, I should only lose maybe about 5 or 10% for that. And my soil pH is going to drop down another 0.2, and that'll be okay too. That'll put me right at 6.9, which is just about spot on. Not going to get any closer for now. There you go. So like I said, I'm going to wrap up the video for today. Thanks again for watching. You know, I'll just get the rest of the work done on the farm, and I'll meet you back here at 5 in the morning. And I'm not sure exactly where we'll start, but I usually start by harvesting, so we'll probably run right out to field 20 and see what's going on over there, and show you you know, the results of at least the first field. And then after that, we'll go through the fields. There'll be a little less work in spraying because more and more of the fields are getting closer to harvest. So you'll see you kind of get into a normal trend, the way at least with the way I do it, where I've got different crops every day. It sort of spreads out the work a bit, you know, where one of the hard things, if you try to do 5 fields in a day, you better have big equipment, and you know, just it's awful hard to get all the spraying, and especially if your animals need tending that day. And so we'll see. Anyway, well, again, hope you guys have a good one. Bye bye.